Warning!
You're watching Dr. Todd Lee TV, where theoretically you could learn a bunch of cool shit.
So I'm here today with Coach Extraordinaire David DeMesquita, and he's going to teach us all about how to be an awesome coach and about we were just having an off-camera conversation about cutting-edge supplements and stuff, and it was like we had like a fire hose of information. I was like, dude, I got to get this on film. He was just telling me that he just got back in the gym after 14 days off and stuff. So
14 weeks.
14 weeks. Oh, 14 weeks. So, all right. Take it away, David. Tell us about yourself and Aegis Nutrition.
All right, you guys. So for those that don't know me, actually the first season I kind of got popular. I had like a 50% ratio of turning people pro, put Keon on stage. Sunny actually went on stage with me that year. She was 6th place. This is in 2021. So my first year actually going to the Olympia. So I didn't get to ever enjoy it as a fan. I got to enjoy it as a coach for the first time ever. And then the following year, kind of like everything kind of took off from there. So my primary focus is blending functional health and bodybuilding. And there was actually no good PED content. So when John was coaching me, he would sometimes watch my YouTube videos, which back then had 50 subscribers. I didn't even know he was watching it. And then all of a sudden he's like, dude, if I could take back time, my first cycle would have been exactly like you just talked about. And it was basically just a basic testosterone cycle and titration, right? So, and then I kept going at the PED content because I had so much like medical literature that I already had like backlogged in my head by that point. I had a lot of observational research. I was already bodybuilding myself, and kind of I was doing PED content because John couldn't do it because of his kids. Actually, he's like, I wish I could post about it, but I can't do it. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, there's not a good resource right now. And I guess there were a few out there like that would trickle out. You were one of them, like you're one of the OGs in the space, but there wasn't anything I think on Instagram at the time, at least that I was seeing. So that was like my primary tool. And you'll like this one. I actually started my YouTube channel after I posted, I'm going to say C19 just in case we still get docked for that word. But I posted a C19 protocol on Instagram for people because I got so sick. I like my mentor actually called me. He's like, dude, you're not going to believe this. Everyone was asymptomatic and I shit my pants. And I was like, shit your pants? He's like, dude, I'm not making it up. I like shit my pants. And then no joke, I got C19 the next week and I shit my pants. So I posted my protocol of how to kick it with the asymptomatic stuff. And Winstraw was actually one of the things in my protocol for C19. So, and then I got banned from posting videos for like 3 months. And then I started my YouTube channel.
My first time I got banned was in 2018. They told me I can never use YouTube again, not even watch it. And so I had to make a fake account called the Blood Dragon Regent so I could watch YouTube. And I was like, wasn't even allowed to watch YouTube. And I was like, what did I do? It was like, they don't even tell me why. It's like, this is an special case of getting banned where we don't even want you to ever watch YouTube again. If we find out you ever watch YouTube again, you'll be banned from Gmail. And you'll never be able to use email ever again or Google search platform. Wait. I was like, damn. It's like I raped all the kids. Like, I don't know what the fuck I did. It's like, you're not just a pedophile. You're like the lord of the pedophiles. I was like, I didn't do anything. I think that what it was is I gave a instructional video on how to use insulin safely.
Wait, and
but I didn't have
banned?
Because I'm a medical doctor showing how to use medication, not a drug addict showing people how to use injectable drugs. But I did it without a shirt off, and I did it in my kitchen. It wasn't like in a lab setting. It's like, guess what? Doctors have kitchens. We don't wear shirts all the time either. You know, like,
I mean,
people, they don't understand that we're human beings.
Back then, there was the heroin epidemic going on. So they're probably like, oh, needle heroin. Gone.
Yeah. I was like, it was the same week that they banned Tony Huge and Dylan Gemelli. It was like a purge. It was like the steroid purge of 2018.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Tony's channel. He was like the OG in the space. Like, he didn't care.
He ruined it for everyone. Actually, I was doing that before him or Rich Piana. I was doing it in 2014.
Oh my
It's just
gosh.
Nobody watched it because it looked. I had glasses on. Hold on, watch this. So I would have glasses on and I would have a button-down shirt. I actually have the button-down shirt I would wear. And I had a dry erase board and I would actually draw structures and talk about them. No one fucking watched it. But when I held my camera and I wore a shirt with a horse with a giant dick on it, and I just started talking shit, like, you all fucking morons, blah, blah, blah. And I walk around and like everyone liked that shit. So like, that's what blew me up and stuff. And I would wear like Viking helmets, no shirt on, and like play with swords and shit, talking about steroids. And people would fucking watch that. And I was like, this is fucking crazy.
So you became the techno Viking of steroids.
I was like, I had 500 videos, 18 of them on steroids, and I got banned. It's like, I'm the steroid guy because I have 18 out of 500 videos on steroids.
So I have 600 videos and I think only like 50 are on like PEDs now. And like people are like, oh, your content's great. I only watch your drug stuff. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's the show us your titties is basically what it is. It's like you're like up there running for Congress or some shit, and they're like, hey, show us your titties. It's like, come on, guys. Like, I'm running for Congress. But that's so like telling a dude with muscles to talk about steroids is like saying to a chick that's running for Congress to show us your titties.
But did they get more votes out of it? That's the question.
You know what? The one chick that gave the hand job in Beetlejuice, everyone knows who Lauren Boebert is now. You know, it's like, she's my favorite. And he was a Democrat too. And they're like, what did they say? They're like, what does your voter base think about you doing this with a Democrat? And then she was just like, all I know is I had a really good time. She's like, I don't give a fuck what his politics are. I wasn't there for that.
He didn't talk much.
She fucking doubled down on it. Like, the dicks I suck doesn't matter if they're red or blue. As long as it's American dick. I was like, dude, I want to move to North Dakota so I could vote for that chick.
Oh my God,
I'll take
I'm
her to
crying,
Beetlejuice
man.
anytime.
I wish that the censoring was like uncapped again.
Well, I don't monetize, so they don't censor this shit.
Oh, that's true. I mean, like, even if you monetize on Instagram, you'd be getting paid $0 anyways.
No. That's the worst thing you can do is do not monetize. I told Paul not to monetize. I told everyone not to monetize. No one listens to me. No one ever listens to me until it's too late.
Well, I'm technically monetized, but like you have to change the ads. You can't run ads on like the drug stuff at all.
Don't monetize. Because if you don't monetize, they don't know you're there. It's like, okay.
You won't lose your Gmail account again.
Yeah, it's like 2011. Let me paint you a picture. All right, so let me paint you a picture. Back to 2011. Me and my friend who went to med school together, he's like, hey, let's start a dispensary. I'm like, okay, I know about weed. I've got 11 years sober, but fuck everyone else, whatever. So it's like, here's the law. If you have a license, you can sell it to someone else who's got a license. I mean, who's got a prescription for it. And you can write them the prescription. I'm like, I sure can. And I was like, and he's like, but they're raiding all the places in Oakland County, but you can do deliveries and not be open. I was like, then let's just do this. Let's do a delivery weed thing. We get a bunch of chicks, we give them burner phones and get them all cards. And then if they happen to sell to someone who doesn't have a card, that's not our problem. Because they're chicks, they'll just blow the cop and get out of it. And so it's like, and then so we have this business where these chicks, I got a bunch of hot chicks because I coach bikini, got all these hot chicks driving around selling weed with these dispensary cards. Keep the weed in your trunk. They can't search your trunk unless you give permission. They can't search a trunk unless they impound the vehicle. You can't be drinking because if you're drinking, they can impound the vehicle. So no drinking and driving. Keep the weed in the trunk. You're good. Right?
Okay.
And so like we just call them, tell them where to deliver. They go deliver, and we're like making $1,000 a month. He's like, we could be making $40,000 a month. It's like, yeah, but we're making 1,000 and we're growing. He's like, but we could be making 40. I was like, but if we open for business, they're going to rate us. And he's like, yeah, but we could be making 40. I'm like, if you're going to sell drugs, don't tell the police that you're selling drugs. And he's like, but we could be making 40. I'm like, here's what we're going to do. You're going to buy me out and you're going to open.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, I told you so when you get rated. All right. We're going to jump ahead a little bit.
I have a question. After he got raided, did you ask him if he was the cop was Democrat or Republican?
He comes over to my house. He's sitting on my couch and he's like, I just got charged with 8 felonies. And I was like, huh, yeah. I was like, meanwhile, I'm like using my 45 micron filter and pumping stuff through it while he's telling me about it. I was like, that's why you don't tell the police about what you're doing. It's like, because I took that money and I bought this. Like,
reinvestment.
Yeah. It's like, I just went with a different drug. It's like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, I straight up would have asked them, were they Democratic or Republican? And then you know the answer.
Oh my God, dude. I don't even remember what the politics were. Back then, I think it was Republicans were anti-weed and it was Democrats were pro-weed. But nowadays, Democrats are against anti-everything. And Republicans are like, whatever the fuck, dude. Just don't cut my kid's dick off and you're good.
That's the most interesting thing is like when people are talking about politics, I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I want people to pay less taxes and enjoy life. That's my politics.
I don't know, man. I have an opinion about each issue and I don't agree with either side because that I have a different opinion than either side on certain issues.
I agree with that.
And yeah, and I would vote based on the candidate that's best able to represent me and my interests. And I don't try to protect the world, let the world protect itself. You know, it's like if everyone voted in their personal best interest, we'd have a proper representative democracy. But instead, where people are being emotionally manipulated into voting for what's the good of mankind, and it's like the people who are telling them to do this aren't smart enough to actually assess what is for the good of mankind.
No, I completely agree with that. I mean, a lot of people, I would say people voted a vegetable in, but I think he was a potato instead.
Whoa, that's funny. It was either an eggplant or a orange, right? But I happen to like the feisty orange.
No. Sorry. I'm talking about previously.
Previously. Okay.
At least they could form coherent sentences.
We've got Weekend at Bernie's, or we've got like Yosemite Sam. Like, what is your choice?
I was just surprised that they actually let him run again. I felt bad for the guy. They're like, oh yeah, you're just going to run again. It's like, the guy doesn't know where he is. Like, did you guys think this one through?
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter at all.
So speaking of medicine.
Yeah, medicine.
Tell me about you just got back in the gym after 14 weeks. What happened?
Yeah, so I had a hip surgery about 14 weeks ago, and I have an 86-year-old hip is what we found out when they opened me up. Had an MRI, had a CAT scan, and an X-ray to make sure that my bones, like I didn't have enough arthritis where they would actually do the surgery. So they were planning to do complete reconstruction of the hip. Shaved down the femoral head and fixed the labrum that I tore because I tore it when I was 26 years old. And I'm 33 now, just for a frame of reference. And when they went in there, I woke up and the doctor's like, you're on benzos. You're not going to remember anything that I said. I was like, I don't think you realize, like, I'm smarter on benzos. You can tell me whatever you want. And he's like,
it slows you down enough to where the bike chain actually is on the gear.
That's right. It
Otherwise, you're like, and then like you're like, okay, let's slow his ass down with some benzos, and you're like, shh, and now you can pedal, and the bike starts going. It's like,
exactly. Okay. So the doctor looks at me like I'm stupid, and I'm just like, nah, dude, just shoot it to me straight. Like, how was the surgery? He's like, surgery was successful, your hip's screwed and you're never going to be the same again. So it turned out that I was yeah, I know, man.
Hold my protein shake and watch me work.
Well, so I'm bone on bone through the entire back of the hip because the femoral head wasn't smooth. It was jamming into the back of the hip because I do super, super deep squats. And essentially what happened is I
knew it.
Yeah, I went through.
I knew this was a squat injury. I knew it.
Yeah, well, I peeled the labrum off the bone when I did a deep squat one time. Like when I hit parallel, I thought I tore my adductor actually. I was like, oh, I tore my labrum, like whatever. After like 2-3 months of like it not being the same, I was like, all right, well, that's good. And essentially I am not able to pretty much do a deep squat again, or else I become a ticking time bomb. I can't run, or else I'm a ticking time bomb. And that's the issue that I'm running into. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not going to completely sacrifice my life because I know I'm going to get replacement surgery at some point in time. I'm hoping I get 5 years out of the hip and then I had to get the right one done. So that's essentially what happened. They just basically cleaned up the hip, microfractured it down. This is really cool from a medical standpoint though. So when you microfracture the hip and the bones, because you're getting the bone marrow out of it, you get stem cell production, which is amazing for basically like reducing inflammation, stuff like that. Because I straight up asked him, I'm like, should I be hitting like growth hormone and BPC 157, TB 500, which I know is not like quote unquote medically accepted yet. But the growth hormone is, should I be doing that? And I personally decided not to, because you don't want the bone to grow too much. You want it to sit steady. So essentially I started growth hormone after 4 weeks for the first time since I was actually bodybuilding, and took some time off. And after 12 weeks, I have been back in the gym for like 3 days a week for the last 3 weeks now. And that's where I'm at.
All right. So here's what I think. I've been doing, if you watch the video with me and Eric Janicki, the 9 weeks out video, the first one, leg training, he shows me how to do sissy squats very effectively in the hack squat. And I've been doing them, and it's not going to affect your hip at all because you're using a semi-roller under your heels. And I've got squat shoes. So I've got like 6 inches of wedge, and I'm doing it with my hips driven forward with pelvic. I'm doing posterior pelvic tilt, driving my knees forward, but keeping my internal rotation. And I'm able to get just quads without any glutes.
So I don't know if you've ever seen me do it before, but that's exactly, I've been doing sissy squats like that for half a decade now. I actually don't use a foam roller. I actually go up on my toes when I do it. I can do 3 plate hack squats in the Cybex with a sissy squat. I was like a freak of nature when it came to sissies, no knee pain. And that was one of the few movements I could actually get into the actual sweep of the leg and put enough blood flow into. Yeah. So enough blood flow into it with a bad hip. So you're exactly right. It was like one of the only movements I could do, because I mean, extensions aren't a great movement for quads. You have to do some type of squat variation, and I couldn't go deep. So that was my alternative, and it's the only one I could find.
So on the video that hasn't dropped yet, my 4 weeks out video, I'm doing on the Atlantis with 3 plates on one side, 2 plates on the other. And I'm pretty much on the toes the whole time. I'm bare, like it's literally, it's a 6-inch slope. I look like I'm a stripper in heels. Like there's no, even though I have contact with the heels, I can't generate any force through it. And my hips are so far forward that the Atlantis is definitely at a 35-degree angle. It's at 45 like the Cybex, but it does go deep as fuck, and it's really smooth. Yeah. So
is that the brand new Atlantis one that it looks like a massive machine where you can alternate it whenever? You can almost go like laying down flat with it. Oh, you guys have one of those?
At Umbra in Sterling Heights, they just got it.
Wow.
So I drove 45 minutes to use that hack squat at Sunday mornings. Yeah. I use belt squat on the other leg day.
Supposedly that is the best hack squat ever made. I haven't got the opportunity to use it yet. So at the gym locally out here, it's called 1858 Athletic Club. They have 7 pieces of equipment. One of them, there's only one other one in the US, and the others 6 that they have, there's 0 in the US. It is the best chest press I've ever used my entire life. And they've like levers to lift it into place, so you can basically drop it into place. It's some pretty crazy stuff. I'll just send you some videos on it. But the heaviest sled also I've ever had on leg press, it must be a 400-pound sled.
Dude, more than the Elite FTS sled, that fucking thing's a nightmare.
Bro, wait, not even close. Not even close in comparison. It's like a 400 to 500-pound sled.
Oh my God. Yeah, the Elite FTS sled's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Panada leg press, the dual leg press, when you pin it together, the Panada one's also super steep and super heavy. Like 3 plates on a Panada leg press is like 10 plates on a hammer strength.
So this leg press, it actually has shoulder pads to keep you pressed in the.
Oh, I love that. I love that because my ass is always squirting out, especially at 180 pounds.
The other thing about it that's really cool is they actually have banded slots, so you can reverse band it or band it to the top, so you can actually either take tension off the knee or put pressure onto it, so it just becomes harder and you can adjust strength curves. It's super cool.
I use the reverse band, and I use knee sleeves, and I wrap my knees because until I hit 43, I've never had any knee problems, and then that's when they started. So I'm just like super protective of my knees. But in this case, I'm using basically a leg extension in an X squat. So I mean, and the tension is perfect on the lateral quads and not the knees this way.
I like that. Yeah, there was a guy actually, Michael Spencer, it was one of the first IFBB pros I ever met, Michael Spencer out in Seattle, and I was training out of the LA Fitness, and once in a while we'd run in there at the same time when I was consulting going from Atlanta to Seattle and back, and he hooked up a reversed band leg press, and I would go until I wanted to throw up every single movement. It didn't matter. I would like go until I wanted to vomit, and then I'd take a few seconds, and then I wouldn't vomit, and then I go on. That was the first time that I was actually healed over in the trash can, just dry heaving, and I couldn't catch my breath. I had to walk out of the gym afterwards. I was like so like cashed out.
All right, so let's look at this because this is a good point. Me and Sam Pierce talked about this morning. To me, I don't see a point in taking a set that far when you could just rest and do another set. His point is, but if you don't ever experience that, you don't know what you're made of and you don't know where failure is. So I agree that when you're in high school and you can do that shit with 3 plates and that's hard, that's when that makes sense to develop your confidence. But when you're in your 40s and you're doing 1,400 pounds, I wouldn't be fucking around with going to failure in a leg press. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so that's a great, I've actually had this like really intellectual conversation around training lately, and I'm kind of in between. I have yes and no's to that answer. First and foremost, when you're a young lifter, you better nut up and learn how to train hard, because if you don't know where true failure is, if you don't truly fail, you have no clue how far you can progress in a shorter period of time just by training balls to the walls. And the best thing about it is you need less drugs to go further. That's I think that's the big win, is like you literally need less drugs if you just train harder. Now, when you're young, you can kind of get away with it because if you get injured, you bounce back. When you're older and you're doing a ton of weight, the margin for error is so low that mechanical failure, you blow something out. So that's the major issue where it comes in, is like you have these beginner lifters that need to know how to like load their central nervous system and overload it and know what that feels like. Then you have intermediate lifters and they're actually doing too many reps and sets where it's like you could just do 2 really hard ass working sets and maybe bury yourself there and be good. And then you have these advanced lifters and the strength curve is so massive that they actually can't do a lot of volume. It's tons and tons of weight. So it's like weight times rep equals volume is kind of how I look at things. But
right, volume load.
Yeah, volume load. Exactly. I just look at a volume load, like net volume in a week or net volume. It's a load. That's all that matters. And then you have central nervous system fatigue. That is like a major, like low hanging fruit that no one really talks about anymore. But I fried my central nervous system plenty of times. But the truth behind it is, because I knew how to train until I absolutely want to vomit and like crawl out of the gym, is the reason why I made so much progress with such low amounts of drugs compared to most people in the space. I mean, I was like 230, the most I ever hit, I was 218 pounds, almost 220 pounds naturally in 3 years of lifting from 135 pounds. I would literally eat like 10,000 calories a day, pretty close to 8 to 10,000 a day. I would eat until I want to throw up and then I'd stop. Like I knew I had a 15-minute window of time. And we had the buffet in college. So I'd eat as much food as I could for 3 servings a day. And it worked really well. Now I put on a lot of fat cells that I didn't need to put on, but then when it came to training though, I would recover like a freak of nature. Now I was probably hitting a growth spurt. So I was probably having crazy IGF-1 spikes or something like that. I was like sleeping 10 hours a day kind of thing. I would like sleep 7 to 8 hours, I go to class and then I nap for another 2 hours in a day. but I don't think that if you train to the point where you're throwing up and you're not like in your infancy stages, you're shooting yourself shy of actually getting another set in to get more volume in. I think it's stupid when these trainers actually train you until you want to vomit. That's not a good thing. Because that's actually a blood pressure spike. That's your central nervous system you're about to tank. So that means you can't recover from any other workouts from potentially another 2 days. It doesn't matter if it's you were training lower and now it's upper, you probably will have a worse upper body day than you previously would. So my thing is train as close to failure as you can. Don't let your blood pressure get so high where you can't catch your breath for the next set. Like stop it shy, even if it's like 1 or 2 reps, maybe 3 reps, and then get out of the hole. Because like when you're loading essentially like leg press, you can feel it in your face really, really hardcore because you have usually bad breathing habits, unless you're a power lifter, and you need to stop and get another set in. And that's like my advice for anyone out there is like, find where your failure set is on your first set. Like this is the stupidest way to do training, like the best stupid way to do training. Progressive overload for idiots. You have 4 sets. Your first set, you figure out where your failure is. And you kind of know that from the previous week because your very final set will explain this. First set, you train as close to failure as can, and you stop yourself shy by about 3 reps. Next set, you get 1 more rep down in the tank. Okay, cool. Same weight. Next set, same weight. And now if you fell shy of that same exact rep, then that means that your weight was too high when you started. Your 4th set should be balls to the wall, complete failure. And you're not going to hit mechanical failure. You're going to rack it before you get injured. Just trust me, you will. And then balls to the wall. And then let's say that you hit 10 reps on the first 3 sets and that last set you hit 14 reps. Well, you know that your landmark for true failure is 14 reps.
14 reps.
It's technically 17 reps because you dropped 3 every single time, right? So that's how I actually made the most progress in my bodybuilding career. Was you had 1 major compound movement, you had 4 sets, and you would go through it. And then the next one that you do, you'd have a second compound movement. You do the same thing over again, maybe with 3 sets instead of 4 sets this time, depending on your CNS. And then you had auxiliary movements at the end. And the auxiliary movements were literally like bro science training, get some blood flow, bring up the weak points, whatever it was. And that's how I made the most progress I've ever made in my bodybuilding career.
This is how I explain it. 3 sets of 10 with reps in reserve would mean the first set is 2 reps in reserve. The second set should be 1 rep in reserve. And the final set, you should hit 10 at failure. If you get more than 10, you lift it too light. And then whatever you failed at, let's say you get 12, that means you're actually 12 reps is your failure. So that means next week you should be able to go 11, 11, 11. And then the next week you should go 12, 12, 12. And then you should add 2 to 5% to your load and maintain the 12, 12, 12. And for eternity, just keep adding 2 to 5% every week.
You know what?
As long as you don't get joint pain.
I have a question. Did a drug ever break this rule for you? Because a drug broke this rule for me indefinitely, and I just had to talk about it once you answer that question.
I found that in this prep specifically, when we started adding in orals, specifically Winstrol, I started having redonkulous strength jumps. And then I got so fucked up, I couldn't do upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower, off. I had to switch to upper, lower, off. I needed more recovery because I was handling so much load for the same amount of reps that instead of getting a 0 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10 soreness the next day, I'm 3, 4, 5 out of 10 soreness. And I'm getting joint problems.
So Winnie is amazing for strength, and no one talks about that. So the drug that broke that rule for me, where I could literally not drop a rep in the tank every set, no matter how close to failure I went. Like I would try to fail out actually, and I couldn't drop a rep. Insulin. I could literally not drop a rep in reserve the first time I used insulin. I'm talking like 6 I used pre-workout, and even 4 I used for me, and I could not drop a rep in the tank. And I was trying to bury myself, and I'm like, what the heck? My volume load is so high. And I'm talking like, I was doing like 16, 20, eventually like 30 sets a day. I'm like, how do I bury myself? I can't do it. And like, I mean, I was trying to train until I was vomiting almost every set. Insulin is the single-handedly the strongest compound I've ever put in my body. Now I was fueling my body, and I'm talking like I was on like TRT at the time. Like, so I would probably be at like if I was cycled up but injured, it would be like 300 milligrams of testosterone, and I'd be doing between 4 to 6 IUs of GH, and then I'd add a little bit of pre-workout insulin with the GH that I was shooting pre-workout, which I know people hate that, but it works.
No, and it makes total sense. They don't know what they're talking about. And you're using what, 3 to 5 units of Humalog?
So I would actually use Novolin R to save the money. It was Humalog at one point in time, but then I want to save the money, and I just started using Novolin R from Walmart.
Oh man. And that's not like it's a bad choice. It's just hard to manage.
Yes. Yeah. Especially with grades.
It's hard to manage. But with you're smart enough, you'd be able to keep track of the fact that after 4 hours, if you do more insulin, you have to add the peak to the other tail to then come up with a new peak. And you'd have to recalculate out how much carbs you need post-workout. So you need 50 carbs pre-workout, 50 carbs intra-workout, 75 carbs post-workout if you do post-workout of Humalog.
Do you want to hear something that's going to make you sick about my carbohydrate intake?
Okay, it was probably 100, 100, 200, right?
It's worse.
Oh my God.
So at my peak off season, and this was with Matt Porter actually, John wouldn't feed me.
Oh shit. So, yeah, I know. John's too conservative for Matt. Matt Porter was an animal.
Yeah, John I made uncomfortable. I had to do pizzas and ice cream every single day. Well, so pizza 2 days a week, like whole pizza, and then it was ice cream at the end of the day because he was like, I can't. He's like, ethically, like I can't give you more food. You're eating so much. And I was getting leaner was the issue. So with Matt, I went from 183 pounds to 254 pounds in 7 months. And 3 of those months were on TRT. That's where I peaked out was 254. And my food
Why
intake,
wasn't he giving you gear?
Oh, no. I was on gear. The first 3 months I wasn't. It was when we first started together.
Okay.
And then it like the cycle was kind of the heaviest cycle I've probably ever done, but it wasn't.
Let me guess. Don't even tell me. I'm going to guess. Okay. Matt Porter's cycle. It's going to be 750 test, probably 600 Masteron, and maybe 400 EQ.
Okay. So it was 600 test, 300 NPP, and 500 EQ. That was the cycle. And then it would
also. So it's way more conservative than I thought it would.
He never needed to run a lot with me. Like he actually pulled me aside because I was like, do you think I should be doing open because I got so big so fast? And he's like, do you want to know what the open guys are doing? I don't think you want to do that. Plus you have classic structure. He's like, you're growing so easy on such low amounts. He's like, I don't think you want to sit down with me and talk to me about this. And at the time, I didn't realize how many grams it was because he told me, he alluded to it, right? Like I'm smart enough to where I pieced it together, but he like sat me down. He's like, I don't think you want to do that. He's like, we can, but like your health markers are perfect.
Do you really think that's true though? Do you really think that the difference between classic and open is just using 3 extra grams?
No,
I don't think I think if you're only running 1,500 milligrams, throwing 3 more grams in it doesn't make you grow more muscle.
No.
The conservation of matter, you can only assimilate the calories you eat.
Yes. So, and this is where biology comes into play. Exactly. It's biology and like thermodynamics. It's like actual laws of physics. So, and digestion. And like, that's where biology really comes in that really people are glazing over. Either way, my calories were 8,500 a day, 8 meals a day. I was waking up 2 times a night to eat. And my carbohydrates were at, 1,050 was where I peaked out. All clean food, by the way. 1,050 calories. And then I think my fats were close to 200. My protein with him got pegged at 450 year round. That didn't change. And
that's a lot of protein. Interesting.
Never had bad kidney markers. Never had bad labs, even on gear, by the way. And my blood pressure.
But you were young. Low. You were like 20s though, right?
Yeah, I was 26 is when 26 when I started with him, and 27. And then he passed away that year. I was the last national competitor he had. I think I was 27 when he passed away.
That's some sad shit, but holy crap. And it's a lot more conservative than I expected to hear that he would say.
Yeah.
And I've never actually listened to his stuff, but people used to tell me back then, because that was before I was banned. They're like, you and Matt actually see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. I was like, oh, well, that's cool. Yeah. Glad he knows what he's doing.
Matt was good. Matt was also the only one that spoke out against metformin like I did. Like, it's like mechanically, like, why are you using metformin? He's like, first off, if you're a bodybuilder, why aren't you using insulin?
or berberine. And
Or berberine. Berberine is superior.
In every way to metformin.
Yep. The only thing that I like metformin slightly edging on berberine would be the actual anti-androgenic effects for women. That's the only edge that I give metformin a little bit. But when it comes to blood glucose management, absolutely not even close, in my opinion.
I mean, is it significant? Like, does it really matter? And they're taking Anavar anyway, so what's the fucking difference?
Well, yeah, if they're on Anavar anyways, it doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah, I mean, trying to convince a girl not to, what do you call it, berberine. I mean, trying to convince a girl not to use Anavar is pretty pointless. You just got to mitigate how much they do.
It's really, Anavar has been an interesting subject because I've been seeing certain coaches, I don't name drop or anything like that. Like I'm just talking about protocols and it's generally across the board. Some people are putting people on 20 milligrams of Anavar, like low end 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams of Anavar up to 30 year round. Like the longest I've seen is 2.5 years, by the way, at 15 milligrams is the longest duration of time that I've seen.
I would be like, my way is like 1 milligram, one milligram pre-training if you're training twice a day, and 2 milligrams if you're training once a day.
Okay.
But you could do that forever and you're good. And if you're training hard and you're training balls to the wall hard, not 25 pounds on the hack squat, 4 plates on the hack squat. If you're a chick trying to grow your glutes and you're doing 4 plates with your feet up high, or you're doing 3 plates in the Smith squat, ass to grass, you're doing 315, then 2 milligrams of Anavar is going to grow that ass. Now, if you're a foo-foo bunny doing 10 pounds on each side of the squat bar, then yeah, maybe you do need 20 milligrams of Anavar to grow, but you're going to grow quads and traps and clit and forearms and everything else, and you're going to look gross.
So I completely agree. The only time, 2.5 milligrams, especially sublingually, can be run nearly year round. Nearly. You have to monitor labs for sure. The major concern with it is when sex hormone binding globulin just gets too low, then it has to be ripped out. But 1 milligram can be run indefinitely. Like there's almost no chance that you're going to have side effects.
Yeah. Why do you care about SHBG?
It's just androgenic side effects that they start to experience from like DHT. Like some of them.
But if their DHT is under 10, then their SHBG doesn't matter.
Okay, so yes, and to an extent, no. And the only reason why I say this is because androgens affect MAO and how fast they're breaking down adrenaline. So if you start seeing like some neurodegradation and like how they're actually acting, like for instance, check-ins, right? How someone verbalizes something can change over time. And I think this is like from good coaching to great coaching to even guru coaching is understanding the psychology of the person. When they're writing something, that's their internal diary that they're putting on paper. If you notice subtle changes in that language over a period of time, women get masculinized from a neurotransmitter standpoint when adding any type of androgens into the equation, and no one talks about it. The way they walk, the way they drive, they get more aggressive on the road. They start because their dopamine's breaking down faster, so they need more of that hit. So that is one of the low-hanging fruit that I just don't see ever being talked about is like dopamine response with androgens and how it makes someone act.
Do you consider the psychiatric masculinization of a woman a bad thing?
Not necessarily. And I think that women and men both need masculine and feminine balance. We do. Okay, so I know you're going to talk about men. So men still need to be in touch with their emotions, right? Like men are... Being chill is technically a feminine feature. Being extremely assertive is masculine, but being chill is technically a feminine feature technically.
You have a very special wife because I've never met very many chill women. Usually women are histrionic, hysterical wrecks, and then it's a man who's got to keep them under control.
Well, okay.
Just go to the bar. Girls are like, woo! Like they're just drunk as shit. And the guy can't even drink because he's got to control his crazy drunk girlfriend.
Now, let me ask you a question.
When have you ever seen a dude who is off the rails drunk, dancing on tables, spinning his shirt over his head, and his wife is there like, sweetheart, maybe you should get down from there. You're embarrassing me. Please stop it. No, that's never happened.
I mean, I'm
The
just gonna
girl's
say,
always more drunk than the dude is.
I used to bounce and I used to actually work on the tables. It does happen from time to time.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm talking to the wrong guy.
But
All
okay. So, but think about this, right? Again, let's go flip this back to hormones and the way they're acting, right? Estrogen levels are higher. That slows down the breakdown of adrenaline, right? So dopamine and adrenaline, norepinephrine. So what's going to happen when they get geeked up and ready to go? It's super hard for them to wind back down. That is the reason why. It's literally a hormonal impact on genes. So and we're seeing this like shift. Like we've already seen a shift societally, right? Like we already know that for a fact. That's like very subliminal messaging that's happened over time. But then if you add hormones into the equation or alter hormones, it changes someone's psyche quite a bit. Even men, and I'll talk about myself really fast. And I've actually had this conversation with a top 5 Olympian because I was just curious because he's off gear for so long at this point. When I stopped bodybuilding about 4 years ago, and I've only been on 120 to 150 milligrams of testosterone for the last 4 years, I noticed that there was actually a level of dampening and numbing to my actual emotions, right? So it was extreme masculine to understanding that there was a dampening on certain aspects of my psyche that started opening back up that I hadn't felt in a long time, which wasn't a bad thing, right? But what I can say is we don't realize that when we're blasting gear and getting ready for shows, it took me probably a year and a half, 2 years before I even felt a shift in my actual mental health in the less dampening impact to the emotional environment around me. So that was a unique change.
What I'm hearing you say is that the great white shark mindset you have when you got a single digit estrogen and triple digits of tren is something that goes away and you go back to being able to feel empathy for other people.
I think that I had to feel empathy for other people from a long time anyways. I'm not sympathetic. Like sympathy, I hate sympathy, by the way. Empathy I have for people because I try to put myself in their shoes because every single person's lens of life is completely different. So then I just hopped on a bunch of tren and it went back to normal.
Well, so tren fixes empathy. Good to know, because I don't want to give fucks to people. I only have so many fucks to give, and I want to give them to victory, not to other people's bullshit problems that are self-inflicted navel gazing.
Every time I see a video of you coming up lately, I'm just like, I'm getting closer and closer to show.
You should see the outtakes.
I mean, that's like straight up canceled. They're like, all right, which is a red word, which is a yellow word? Red word's going to get him banned again. Let's not do that. No, he needs his Gmail account.
Yeah, no, there's no monetization. There's no fear of canceling. That I'm like South Park at this point. Oh my God. That I'm immune to canceling. Oh, man. So tell me about your Olympians you got, because I know you got a couple of them.
Well, so right now I only have Damian Patrick that's qualified this year.
That's the classic dude, right?
Yes.
With the giant quads and this tiny waist.
Yes.
His legs are the size of his quads. He competed at the Arnold in 2023 when I saw you there, right?
Wasn't it last year, 2024?
You're right.
2024. Yeah, 2024. And he was 6th place.
That's still fucking awesome.
Yeah. It was.
I mean, out of what, 50 people?
No. So the Arnold's 12 people. It's invite only.
Oh, right. But it's invite only.
Yeah, but
the Olympia is 50 people.
Yeah, that was the year that Wesley was like so peeled out. Like people that were talking online just didn't understand because he was so. Wesley was mind-blowingly on point at prejudging to the point where one of the best peaks and conditioning I've ever seen on an athlete. He wasn't as sharp at the night show, and Dino did get a lot better into that, but it was close enough to the point where I would have the moments like 50-50 at the night show, but Wesley was so mind-blowingly on at prejudging that he just smoked everyone. It was amazing to see, actually.
So you got Damian. And he's doing the Olympia.
Yeah, he's doing the Olympia right now. Maybe doing a warm-up show. We did actually just a master show down in Tampa. We were Dude, we did a 10-week prep. It was 8 weeks into Chicago. We weren't lean enough. We got second place at Masters, and then we did Tampa Pro, which they had a 1-point split decision. And actually what made him lose, and hey, you guys out there that are competing in Classic, please just listen to me when I say this. Do not do a twisting back shot for your Classic pose. Hit a dead on front shot. Like hit a dead on front shot, make yourself as big as possible, win the pose, because if you turn to the side, you're immediately smaller. So
I remember your post about this, man.
Well, yeah,
I listen to you. I listen to her. I'm going to show you some shit. Hold on. I'm going to text you some pictures from 2 days ago and from today.
Yeah.
And boom, here. And you tell me what you think, since you are an Olympia level coach who does Classic. And I'm switching from 212 to Classic.
Okay. So when I look at your legs, I think that the upper body's fine. Okay. I would still change it up a little bit to make you look a little bit bigger. I would do a lat spread. So I would do the lat spread. I'd open up your lat, look as big as possible, then your legs. So you see how your legs are so close together? That doesn't make you Classic. That makes you smaller. So what I would, because that's almost like, that's like an abdominal thigh, which is fine for abdominal thigh to twist that waist like that. That's exactly how I'd actually recommend it, abdominal thigh, but put the right leg, the front leg, plant it slightly in front more. But for your legs in this shot, especially if you're doing the lat spread, you want to stagger the legs. Pretend like you have a line on the ground, one straight line, and that's where your feet go. Have your feet at a 1 and an 11 o'clock, and then unlock the kneecap on your planting side. So that's going to be your left side for you, is your natural planting side. Unlock the knee slightly, rotate the waist into it to hide the waist a little bit, and then drag the right foot against the ground to get your quads to come out, which you're already actually doing that here. And that it's going to make you as big as possible. And you're still going to get just as much waist singeing and shrinking that waist down, because you can get about like, it looks like you're getting about an inch off the waist there, or half an inch off the waist when you're doing it like that. So keep the waist twisted like that, but bring the foot forward and wider. As long as the adductors are connecting at the groin, that's as big as you can be. So once you create a gap, you're too small. Now you're creating a gap, and it makes you look smaller, less dense.
So here is, I sent you some more. That's from today's front lat spread, and then the 2 ab shots you were talking about.
Abdominal and thigh, put your leg in front, put your thigh in front.
So they're crossing?
Wait, this is your abdominal thigh, correct?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Drag this leg in a little bit more so it's closer to the judges.
Okay. And so I also sent you some pics from the Texas Pro.
Looking at that,
where I was 12 pounds heavier, and my legs, I think, look a lot bigger, but they were also a lot smoother. And for frame of reference, I'll show you the back shots where you can really see the difference in conditioning.
What's your weight right now? What's your cap?
I was 179 this morning, 179.1 this morning, and my cap is 177.
What are your plans for going into the show? Like front load, back load?
I don't know. Dom's handling it.
Oh, okay. Basically,
I'm sure I'll be down to 176.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to try to height myself at 64.1, which will then bring my cap up to 82. My understanding is they height you 3 times. They take the highest of the 3 heights. So I'm doing 3 shows so I can get at least one of them at 64.1. And as soon as I get one hiding at 64.1, if we're bombing the season, I'll just pull out of the remaining shows. So for instance, at this Florida Pro, if I get 64.1, but I get like 15th place, I'm not going to bother doing the San Antonio and the Daytona. I'm just going to shut it down and prepare for Detroit Pro next year.
Is that the Sarasota show?
Yep, the Florida Pro
Sarasota
show. Okay, cool.
I'm shooting for a W down there.
Oh, really? With who?
Brandon, Men's Physique. He's really good.
Okay.
Really good.
Okay.
So, but you look good. By the way, back double bicep.
Yeah.
Your back is perfect, by the way. Don't change that. That is literally perfect.
Awesome.
Right leg, I would pull that back a little bit. And then you see how your hamstrings, you're having issues bringing them out. I actually learned this from Mark Anthony, and he learned this from Flex Lewis. Drag the ground together and it pulls your hamstrings out.
Right. And what was funny is I normally can when I got a little bit of food in me, but these were fasted, so I didn't get it. And Karina noticed that my feet were pointed too far forward. Normally, I externally rotate them to 45 degrees. And so that's why I didn't hit them. And they're also probably a little too close together. So if you look at the picture beneath it, that was see the glute difference?
Yeah.
That's how much better my conditioning is now than
yeah.
it was at the Texas Pro last year.
Night and day difference, man.
Yeah, so that's why I think my legs look so big in that front lat spread, is because they were just a lot softer than this front lat spread. My feet were closer together, and I was also, I think I had more anterior pelvic tilt, so it really popped them better. Whereas I was losing my chest because of the angle. Whereas now the way I hit it is I'm compromising my hips being anterior pelvic tilted to make sure my chest is high, and it makes my lats pop better, I think.
Are you talking about front lat spread?
Yep, front lat spread. Yeah. Today's versus last year's. I feel like the pose, I'm hitting it better today, but my legs look bigger before. But that's why I showed you what the back shots look like, so you could see how softer the glutes were.
You know, it'd be interesting on that front lat spread if you took one of the legs and you moved it out in front of you.
That's
like, what
you were saying.
Yeah, like what Hottie does. I really like the way, not everyone can do it, but I'd be curious to see what that looked like on you. And then
asymmetry would help a lot, I think, on that pose. I was thinking about putting my base leg on my left leg, like you said, and then popping my heel up a little bit on the right leg so that I can really accentuate the sartorius, and it'll take attention away from the lack of sweep.
Agreed. Yeah. So that's exactly what, like, it's for certain people, certain physiques, it looks good on. Other physiques, don't do it. Like if you have super sweepy legs, you're better off just doing it straight up.
Right.
The other thing is on your back double bicep, your left toe is going out too far to the left. You want to bring your toe in just a little bit to plant onto it easier to pull out the hamstrings. It's
okay, so you're saying it's at 45 degrees and I should be at 35 degrees.
That's about right.
Is that what you're saying? All right, cool. And you can barely see the glutes are coming in from behind.
Mm-hmm.
The side shots, the glutes really came in already, which everyone says that. But today was the first day that they really, really started coming in. All of a sudden,
you have gnarly calves, man.
Thanks, man. So this is the best. I basically did a shot just of the glute conditioning.
That's really good. I mean, your glutes are in.
Yeah.
Like glutes are in.
Cool. Especially for classic, because the trunks cover them up anyway.
Well,
like I'm wearing bodybuilding trunks just so that we could see the glutes in today's pics, because they look so much better than they did on Thursday's pics.
Another pro tip besides a spinning back shot for classic is get the trunks not completely up the crack, but almost up the crack, because they do allow it, and have it go around the glute. And if you need to, you roll it up and fold it and lock it in place. And even if you need to use bikini bite to lock it in, you lock it in. But the less that you have showing, the better your physique looks. Just make sure that it's sitting up on the waist. I see people like pulling it down their butt and stuff like that to like make their waist look, it makes their waist look wider and it makes their legs smaller. So always, you already know how to do it because you're a bodybuilder, but a lot of these classic guys, I see them pulling it down so they can quote unquote show the V at the bottom, and it makes their legs smaller. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
They're trying to show their V in the front.
Yeah.
So that chicks, for girls.
Yeah.
The girls aren't fucking wear that in the bedroom. Right now, you're trying to win a fucking bodybuilding show, man.
Exactly, man.
Like girls aren't the ones who are hiring you. So like you're it's so weird, dude. It's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, but you do.
That's what men's physique is for. Then you can have your dick root showing. No one cares. It's like,
you know, this year, like if you're an open bodybuilder in Brazil, you can dance, you can pole dance on stage, and you can also, men's physique, you can dance on stage. So you have that.
Well, I can't dance. Do they have? But I would go to Brazil to compete just because it sounds like fun.
You don't want to pole dance and advertise your OnlyFans, man?
No, dude, I don't have an OnlyFans. I need a manager. I'm not sophisticated enough to run my own OnlyFans. I need somebody to tell me what to do.
I think I might have a connection for you.
So if anybody wants to whore me out, then just let me know, because I have no morals and I have no boundaries. Just no dudes and no rap music. As long as it's chicks and it's metal, I don't care how ugly or fat she is. All right.
You bring me back to your glory days right before the guy got 8 felonies.
Dude, back then the girls I dated were hot as fuck. It was crazy. I had no self-control, so I was just totally in your face, hyper aggressive and assertive all the time. And I was just so aggressive that it just worked for some reason.
Yeah, they get pulled over, they just give them blowjobs. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. But
oh my god.
So I appreciate the fucking posing tips, man. So we talked about training, we talked about posing, we talked about gear, we talked about
We haven't talked about that much gear, man. People are gonna get bored.
No. Fuck them. We're doing this for us. Like, we got 14,000 followers on this channel. We get like 2,000 views. The fucking reels get 100,000. My money doesn't come from this shit. We're doing this because it's cool.
Exactly.
This is for the cerebral people. The Sarn goblins and the broccoli-headed boys, they just watch Instagram.